A Life After April. Chapter 1. A Lesson in Submission. Written by Gabriel Ndayishimiye. I was born in a winter that would not end. My mother told me this years later, as if it explained something fundamental about me. She said the roads were slick with ice the day she brought me home, that the snowbanks rose taller than a man, that she had to wrap me in an extra layer because the wind cut sharper than it should have. I have always remembered that detail, the way she told it, as if the weather had something to do with the shape my life would take. My father did not come to the hospital when I was born. He had things to do, he said. A job to attend to, a house to manage, another daughter to take care of. It wasn't personal, my mother assured me later. Your father was just like that. But I knew even then that my father was a man who could make a choice about what mattered to him, and he had already chosen my sister. It was my aunt who named me. Susan. I don't know why she chose it, or if she had been holding it in her mouth for years, waiting for a child to place it on. She had no children of her own. Something in her body had decided against it, refused her in the way women are sometimes refused by forces they don't understand. So when I was born, she took me in her hands and spoke the name over me like a prayer or a brand. Susan, she said it as if it would mean something, as if the name could shape me before I had the chance to shape myself. And maybe it did. Maybe my life was never mine. Not really. I learned early that my mother loved me in the way that frightened women love their daughters. Tightly, desperately, as though she were always preparing for something to take me away. She held my hand too tightly when we crossed the street. She checked my homework twice, then 3 times. She dressed me in wool even when the wind softened, made sure I never left the house with wet hair, kept me home from school if I so much as sniffled. She was not a woman who trusted the world. She had lived too long under the weight of a man who measured love in miles, how far he would go for my sister, how far he wouldn't for me. She had learned not to expect too much, and she passed that lesson down to me in ways neither of us spoke aloud. Take what you are given. Do not ask for more. Asterisk. My father was a man who loved things. Leather shoes lined up in the closet like soldiers. A car washed twice a week, the paint so polished you could see yourself in it. A set of golf clubs he used 3 times a year, but kept in perfect condition, as if they were waiting for something better than him. He loved my sister. He loved her in the way that men like him love daughters who remind them of themselves, with admiration, with pride, with the certainty that she would go farther than he did. He gave her things, a car, a trip to Rome, a summer in California. He never spoke of what he gave me. When I was a child, I thought maybe I had done something wrong, something irreparable. That love was a thing you could earn or lose, or never be given in the first place. And maybe it was. It was my aunt who shaped me. She had been the most beautiful child in Western Ontario, or so the story went. A photograph in a faded newspaper, a ribbon tied into blonde curls, a dress pressed into perfect pleats. I have tried in my adult life to find that newspaper clipping. I have searched archives, flipped through pages too fragile to hold. I have never found it. But she carried the weight of that story with her, even as she grew older, even as beauty stopped saving her. She was stunning. Sharp cheekbones, long legs, hair like something spun from gold. But beauty had done nothing for her except invite criticism. It had made her something to be compared, measured, evaluated. And she would not let me escape that. She watched me too closely. She measured my waist, my posture, the way I held my hands when I spoke. She corrected the way I walked, the way I looked at the world. She brushed my hair into smooth sheets, pulled it back when it curled the wrong way. She told me, "You must always be perfect." And for years I tried, because she had given me my name, because she had taken me in her hands when I was a baby, and decided something about me before I could decide it for myself. Because when a woman has been given nothing, she will find something to control. And that something was me. I grew up believing that a girl is a project, not a person. That I was something to be shaped, smoothed, polished. That beauty was not something you were given, but something you maintained through discipline. I learned obedience before I learned love. And that is a lesson that takes a long time to unlearn.